she don't desert it. Oh, it's still on my mind. She's still on my mind. Did we build it up, just to let it wash away? Tell me, did I lace you up, just to watch you run away? Please tell me who's getting on my love, who's getting on my love? Tell me who's getting on my time? All of that used to be mine. Oh, who did you teach what I taught you? Better not give her my nickname. I don't like thinking about it. I swear that it's wearing me down. No, but tell me who's getting all of mine? Who's getting all of mine? Residuals. Who's getting all of mine? Who's getting all of mine? Residuals. Who's getting all of mine? Who's getting all of mine? Residuals. Made it clear you didn't wanna see the sequel. I was lying when I said the feeling's mutual. It took some time to realize I'm a different people, and love is blind. I say love is blind. Can we build it up, just to let it wash away? Tell me, did I lace you up, just to watch you run away? Please tell me who's getting on my love, who's getting on my love? Tell me who's getting on my time? All of that used to be mine. Who did you teach what I taught you? Better not give her my nickname. I don't like thinking about it. I swear that it's wearing me down. No, but tell me who's getting all of mine? Who's getting all of mine? Residual.
Broadcasting live from the Brown and Crouppen studio. It's the Midday Party with Julie Jones.
Every day's a party.
Win $1,000 in birthday cash.
Money!
Celebrating 75 years in KC. Hot 103 Jams.
This world were mine.
Hey, Roman numeral 7, babe, drop it like it's hot. If this world was mine, I'd take your dreams and make them multiply. If this world was mine, I'd take your enemies in front of God. Introduce them to that light, hit them strictly with that fire. Fire, 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 fire. Hey, Roman numeral 7, babe, drop it like it's hot. If this world was mine, I'd take your dreams and make them multiply. If this world was mine, I'd take your enemies in front of God. Introduce them to that light, hit them strictly with that fire. It's a vibe, do your dance, let them watch. She a fan, he a flop, they just wanna kumbaya, nah.
This world concrete, flowers grow. All day, she only do what she know. Weekends, get it poppin' on the low. Better days coming for sure. If it was up to me, I wouldn't give it nobody's no sympathy. I'll take away the pain, I'll give you everything. I just wanna see when, wanna see if
This world
it go in,
When you
out,
ride it,
door, slow.
slide.
Maybe you would stop, strike, pose. When I'm with you, everything goes. Come and put that on my soul. Bobby, clown, wrist, froze, check, down, on the way home. This world, concrete, flowers grow. All day, she only doing what she know. Weekends, get it poppin' on the low. Better days coming for sure. If it was up to me, I wouldn't give it nobody's no sympathy. I'll take away the pain, I'll give you everything. I just wanna see when, wanna see if
this world
I can't lie, I trust you, I love you, I won't waste your time, I turn it off just so I can turn you on. I'ma make you say it loud. I'm not even tripping, I won't stress you out. I might even settle down for you, I'ma show you I'm a pro. I'ma take my time and turn it off just so I can turn you on, baby. Weekends get it poppin' on the low. Better days coming for sure.
What are you coming for?
if this world were mine.
Hot 103 Jam.
It's the best station on the radio.
Kansas City's #1 for hip hop, R&B, and throwbacks.
Oh, she found all the numbers I had in my car. Oh, she called all the ones I had marked with a star. Oh, I'm racing over to plead my case. Oh, she saw it was me that slammed the door in my face. Fellas, tell me why. How come we always doing wrong? Doing wrong. How come we can't keep it home? Keep it home. How come it always is like this? Even though we know that it ain't worth telling a lie. It ain't worth seeing you cry. It ain't worth. That's why I'm right
Jamming the best music. Johnny Andre and Myra D. High today, around 87. We are KPRS, Kansas City, the nation's oldest owned black-owned radio station.
Hot 103 Jams, getting ready for that live drive at 5. Boy, we got some serious traffic problems out there.
Born from the groundbreaking discoveries of the late 19th century, radio emerged as a revolutionary form of communication. Initially a tool for ship-to-shore communications and wartime strategy, radio transformed into a consumer phenom by the 1920s. Families gathered around their sets as a radio brought music, news, and entertainment directly into the living rooms. By the 1950s, it was a cultural centerpiece, shaping communities and connecting the nation like never before.
Black radio is an institution. So it's...
Your membership is more than just a card. It's your gateway to extraordinary experiences. With the AAA app, discover savings and hidden gems. AAA, we're always with you.
Choose adventure. You can choose a change of scenery, or choose a change of pace. Then keep going. The Mazda CX-50 Hybrid.
like church, it's like school, it's like hospital. And this is what black folks depended on in terms of our information and for music entertainment and what was happening in our community.
I believe that when you come into a city, I go to the black stations and I believe that I can actually learn a lot about the city just by listening to the black station, whether it's healthcare, education, politics, social issues, you turn to the black station. A concert, you turn to the black station. Want to hear new music? You turn to the black station.
It was inherently ours, and we supported it tremendously. It was finally a place where we could turn and hear our story, and hear our music, and get our news.
The beauty of the African American community, especially when it's happening to our community or in our community, they want to be informed.
There was a tremendous sense of pride about having those kinds of business institutions that catered to our needs explicitly.
We know that, and that's our job. So therefore, we've never lost being the mouthpiece of the African American community. We won't lose that.
just by punching the dial. You can hear it, you can feel it, and in essence, see it, because it's all there in sound. Mainstream media, even academia, obviously didn't perceive black radio as being important, and so they did not record the history. In 1947, WDIA was licensed in Memphis, Tennessee. The black population of the United States was 10% at that time. In Memphis, the black population was even larger, but you couldn't tell it by listening to the radio stations. They decided to go all black all the time, and they remained number one for decades. And then in 1950, KPRS came on the air. While WDIA was the first black-owned station, KPRS was the first black-owned group, and the only one that still exists to this day.
In the 70s and 80s and before then, the access for black music was extremely limited.
May 15th, 1950, he turned on that AM station.
You got to read that's what you sow. Please don't forget.
It was the first black radio station west of the Mississippi. All right? The thing we're doing right now, we're the oldest black-owned radio station in America, if not the world.
The fact that Skip Carter worked so hard just so he'd be able to get that FCC license, to be able to have a station.
My grandfather wanted to be in the radio business, and that guy Alf Landon, who saw his article back in 1948 or 9, said, "Hey, Skip, I'll help you get into the business." All right? In fact, so much he gave him radio transmitter to start KPRS AM.
You know, to hear about all the things that black people were going through back then, actually for him to have a radio station is crazy.
We're sitting on history. One of the few black-owned companies from the Civil Rights Movement.
We talking about, this is before the Civil Rights Movement. 18 years before Dr. Martin Luther King passed away, they started this radio station.
You're part of history. You're standing on the shoulders of others that came ahead of you.
This is a family business that was started with nothing but heart.
The blood of Skip and Mildred Carter, it runs through the building.
Because he already knew what to do for the engineering perspective, because he had studied engineering. He went to school for engineering. He just needed that license, that piece of paper. And once he got that piece of paper, he was off to the races.
And then that's how our story begins.
I'm sure they had difficulty getting financing, getting funding. There was discrimination with the banks. The FCC, the process was discriminatory.
If you can imagine 1950, what my grandfather and grandmother and that sales department had to do to try to make sales. I mean, a lot of people didn't realize that KPRS stood for Keeps People Really Swinging. A lot of folks thought it was colored people's radio station.
Whether it was businesses that were advertising on that station, whether it was a place where we could turn and hear music that we could relate to. You know, all of those things were so integral for what Carter Broadcast and that radio station provided for this community. And I think we saw it grow right along with the urban population's growth in Kansas City.
This brilliant device keeps your home cool in summer, even during heat waves and power outages. It's smaller than a lunchbox, cools any room within 3 minutes, and uses 98.7% less energy than your AC. It was invented by a former NASA engineer from Houston, and it's now taking the U.S. by storm. Steve designed this device after a citywide power outage left him, his wife, and elderly mother without AC in the searing summer heat. With inside temperatures reaching 90 degrees, Steve took matters into his own hands. The result is an ingenious invention that's destroying the $5 billion AC industry, helping families around the country. Having worked on cooling systems for deep space rockets at NASA, he reverse engineered the existing aircon unit in his house and was able to build a more efficient cooling device. It sucks in the surrounding hot air, passes it through a liquid compressed cooling cartridge, and then blasts cold air back into the room. Immediately after he turned it on, temperatures in the sweltering hot living room plummeted from 93 to 63 degrees in just 3 minutes. Amazed at the results, Steve put his prototype through controlled testing. His invention cooled down a 400 square feet room by 30 degrees in minutes, keeping it cool using only 2.3% of the electricity of regular AC units. Weighing just 2 pounds, the small and lightweight design allowed the device to run for over 12 hours, recycling the air already generated to create a non-stop loop of cold air that's 99% efficient. It didn't take long before greedy AC companies lined up to license Steve's invention. Worried they would inflate prices and take advantage of homeowners, Steve decided to partner up with independent engineers and trustworthy ex-co-workers instead. Together, they perfected his prototype and readied it for mass production. It's called polar cooling, and it cools down rooms rapidly using only tiny amounts of electricity. By recycling cold air, practically no energy is wasted. Just plug it in for continuous, non-stop cooling in any room of your house or charge it through USB to stay cool anywhere you go for over 12 hours. Polar cooling is smaller, lighter, more efficient, and 98.7% less expensive than regular AC units. It also outperforms any plug-in fan in side-by-side testing and doesn't make any noise. The brilliant cooling technology passes water over a precision-engineered liquid compression cartridge and cools rooms within minutes. Just fill it with tap water and plug it in to start blasting out icy cool air practically for free. It runs for hours without needing to be plugged in and works in rooms of up to 400 square feet. If you already have an AC, use this instead to save energy. It's much cheaper and just as effective. People all
And then there were the naysayers saying that it will never happen. You can't do this. It's impossible. A lot of them didn't last. They went bankrupt. But those who had the vision and really served the community, became the pulse of the community, and the community relied on them, they supported them.
I would really want to just hear the way that they speak about being black and being in business, because their mentality had to be killer mentality. They had to know, I don't care who is sitting in front of me, I'm gonna get this business done because this is my business and I want this for the next 5, 10 generations, right? They had no fear.
And Skip and Millie had that kind of vision. And they knew it was competitive, but they won. It shows. And I think it was a voice. It was a voice along that way, along with one of the oldest African American weekly papers, the Kansas City Call. So there was, here you read it and here you hear it. And I think that so significant it was. But they're able to make it, and still now, almost 75 years, they're still alive.
I think it's a testament to their good work throughout the years, man, to be able to survive 75 years without other stations coming here and slamming on you. You know what I'm saying? Slam. dunking on you, you know.
Kansas City should be proud, you know, to have this legacy, this history right here in our city.
And I remember going to that building, and gosh, it was so small, but it was theirs. I remember my grandfather, he was such an engineer type person. My grandmother was more the business end of things. She didn't put up a lot of crap at all.
Mrs. Carter came in once in a while, and you knew who was boss when Mrs. Carter came in.
What woman in an era where it's hard to get a black business started, much less a radio station, says, no, we're going to do this station, and makes it happen?
Urinate excessively, feel extreme fatigue, or have blurred vision due to diabetes. Place this under your tongue and flush out sugar through your urine. Most people don't realize this, but the real cause...
She taught me a lot of things. She would always have conversations. She would sit me down and remind me, you know, how the station was started, where you came from. Because if it wasn't for Skip Carter, none of this would be possible for all of us.
So one day, Chris was in the production room. He goes, "You're getting pretty good at this." And I said, "Oh, thanks." He goes, why don't you come in here and let me see, you sit on my lap and let me see what you can do live. And I was like, okay. You know, and so Chris had talked to my grandfather, and he got the okay from him. And so I did it. My grandfather said, let him do a show. So I got to do the Mike Lewis show. And I played jazz. And I did all this, you know, everything that a jock would do. And every now and then my grandfather would walk by and he'd look in. And, you know, I was like, you know, and you got to understand Skip Carter. That man was so stoic. I mean, if you weren't working, you better look like you were working. When that man walked in, you know, oh, Skip's here. Oh, hi, Mr. Carter, how you doing, you know?
Hello, how you doing? Good to see you.
You know, that kind of thing. It's like what the kids are doing now on social media. It was just so many cool things to do. And, you know, I'm sitting there handling this 100,000 watt radio station. And, you know, it was just amazing. It was just an amazing thing.
By the 1970s, black music and entertainment exploded into the mainstream, reshaping the cultural landscape. From soul and funk to the rise of hip-hop, these genres carried the stories, struggles, and triumphs of a community, captivating audiences across racial lines, influencing fashion, language, and social movements. Black artists didn't just entertain, they redefined the sound of a generation, leaving an undeniable mark on global culture.
Crown Center wants to come in and start doing some work. They were thinking about building the Crown Center Redevelopment Corporation. So they started building Crown Center, all right? So when they got most of the building done, they wanted to take my grandparents' their building and demolish it. They were going to move them, basically. So I guess the story goes is that, you know, she had a conversations with some of the Hall family people. She told them that she would broadcast in George Washington Park, and she would broadcast at Crown Center Random Out. Okay? So that changed the whole dynamic. So Crown Center said, whoa, no, time out. We don't want to do that. I tell you what, we'll put you in our building.
They wanted to put her in the basement, and she wasn't having none of that.
She goes, no, I'm not doing that. I'm just going to go right out here at George Washington Park until you can find me a place that's reasonable that we can be in. So next thing you know, we got into the 2440 building. That's where we started, you know, start making the moves that way. They put the groundwork together, put the building up. My job was to fill in the building and take it to the next level. 1987. Okay, now, we had been automated. You had mentioned automation, because we were the first automated radio station in Kansas City. First black automated station in the country.
You could set your watch, or not even wear a watch, know what time it was.
to KPRS growing up, because at about 2 to 3 minutes to the top of the hour, you'd hear a jazz song. It'd be a George Benson or a Grover Washington Jr. song or something, and you knew that it was the top of the hour.
They had Gap Band, You Can't Keep Running In and Out of My Life. That's how it went off every night. In my life, they had this like loud delay, this reverb delay. Same song. Every night, my whole childhood. They played the Gap Band.
I wanted to try to get us out of that automation and go back to live format. And when I had mentioned that to my grandmother was like, "Oh no, we're not doing that because those jocks don't show up." Grandfather goes, "Wait, what are you talking about, Mike?" And I said, "Well, I just think we could have a stronger station if we were back to live and people could talk to us and all those types of things." So in the meantime, I take it upon myself to go ahead and start doing some live broadcast at night.
For us to go live at that time, it changed the dynamics of everything for the radio station, for our personalities.
Wow, you guys, can I request a song? Yeah, here, what song,
Think about if you're the listener. And you're turning on the radio and your favorite stars are on the radio having a chit chat.
We were getting ready to dedicate a new tower because my grandfather wanted to be on this 1,100-foot tower. And my grandmother comes out and says, "Thank you for coming here today. We are about to dedicate this tower, and we are going to announce that we're going back to a live format. And we've got some other changes that are going to happen. And one of those major changes was we're going to name a new president of the radio company." So my grandmother says, "Oh, and our new president is my grandson, Michael Carter."
They don't believe how toxic this is. If you're still using a plastic or wooden cutting board, you need to hear this. I never post stuff like this, but I had to share. I cook almost every day, so we've gone through our fair share of cutting boards. For years, we used plastic, until I read about microplastics ending up in your food. One study even linked them to cancer. So we switched to wood, thinking it was safer. Until one morning, my husband took a bite of toast and said it tasted like raw chicken. Minutes later, he had stomach pain, a fever, and started throwing up. I rushed him to the hospital. The diagnosis...
My mom goes, get out there. And I go, she did not just mention me. She did not say me.
And I was honest with us. Michael is young, and this is you've been going now for X number of years. I don't know. She said, but don't worry. I'll be looking after you.
I'm going to tell you something. Your grandfather couldn't be here because of his health. And I said, yeah. She said, but he wanted me to do something for you. And I said, okay. So my grandmother reaches down in her purse, and she pulls out these keys. And she hands me the keys to the radio station. Now I am something. I'm the president.
And then KPRS came up with a new slogan for the station, Hot 103 Jams, went on a blitz passing out bumper stickers and keychains and whatnot, and then the whole "don't forget to slam that Z" window happened, and it was just a thing at that point.
On KPRS Kansas City, HD1, Hot 103 Jams.
We go back, now I'm president of the station, we got the live format going, and and all that.
So we went live in April, and there were only 4 of us. Chris King, Del Rice, Freddie Bell, and myself. So we had to go live on FM, and we still had to tape the AM, which I did both.
It was nothing to walk into the offices at Crown Center on the weekend to do your shift, and DJs were asleep, passed out everywhere. Because we'd come right from where we were, take a couple hours nap, hop on the air, go freshen up, and hop back in the van and go someplace else.
And we got a van, and we just started doing remotes, and we just started really hitting the streets and, kind of guerrilla warfare in a way to make us on the map.
So I used to work at this clothing store on 35th and Prospect called Wild West Fashions, my senior year in high school. And Freddie Bell used to come by and do live broadcasts. So right after automation, they went live in the late 80s. We would always do character voices and do a lot of stuff and engage the customers and coerce them into shopping and buying stuff. So he was watching all of this, and we're just doing what we do. And he's like, hey, have you guys ever thought about doing character voices for a morning show? And we're like, we don't even know what that means. So we created some characters for the morning show. At the time was Diane Devereaux and Freddie Bell. And the characters took off. Like, I would literally go to the radio station before I went to school in the morning. So I'd go do some of those voices, record them, and then head off to school.
You know, all of a sudden we have more salespeople. So we expanded while we were in Crown Center. We worked 7 days a week for quite a few months, no day off.
And I think Michael has done well, beyond a lot of people's thoughts about that. And I was, this is nothing to play with. You and Andrew had built this to a point to where it was very competitive. You had your resources out there, your advertisement out there to keep you alive.
Us going live gave us more credibility with the audience. You know what I mean? Connecting with the audience. The DJs could deliver the information in real time, interact with the audience more. What it did for us, it just changed the dynamics of everything from the front office to on air to sales. It just changed the narrative and the conversation.
Then it became like, oh, this is what radio's really supposed to be.
There was always a live broadcast somewhere, from a clothing store, from a car dealership, and most definitely nightclubs.
I broadcast live from the corner of 18th and Vine with the turntable and all that stuff one year.
Tony G, who was probably one of the first superstars to come out of KPRS with live radio, and Magic Man, and then Diane Devereaux, and those guys, you know, wherever they were, you wanted to be.
We just got out in the community and started being part of it, just like it probably was in the 60s.
Well, I think it really gave people a feeling that they could now reach back and talk to the station. They could have easily sold it, and you kids go do whatever the hell you want to do. We made our money. See you later. But they didn't, and that was so unselfish for them. 1990-ish or 91-ish or so, I had talked to my grandmother. I said, hey, you know what? We got to get out of Crown Center because this stuff is just costing us too much money. I don't have the room. I need more space. So she said, well, go around and look and see what you can find. So I went over to where we are now, and I said, whoa, this is nice. We've got a radio wing, and we got, you know. So I called my grandmother the next day. I said, Chichi, I think I found something. She said, okay, I need you to come up. So she said, well, give me about 2 or 3 days, I'll come up and look at it. So she did. She came up and looked at it, she goes, oh, this is perfect. We made our move from Crown Center in 1992, and then we did everything that we could do to get our building into the shape that it's in today. And, you know, that sign, Carter Broadcast Group, you know, we changed the name and all of that from KPRS Broadcasting. And it was a big move for us.
We all had to make that change. We all had to adapt.
Embrace the journey, where each moment turns into a cherished memory. Your membership is more than just a card. It's your gateway to extraordinary experiences. With the AAA app, discover savings and hidden gems, from dining to travel to hotel stays. Your membership is
because it's a lifestyle. I mean, hip-hop music started becoming a lifestyle.
It was still pretty R&B driven at the time. You know, we hadn't even got to the point where there were a lot of rap artists featuring on songs at that point. So it's just, you had your Run DMCs, you had your Houdinis, you had, you know, the staples that were there at that point. So, and KPR still did not play a lot of that, but they were still coming around, so you could still hear those artists. But
trending to become one of the top selling genres of music, you know, in the latter part of the 90s, early 2000s. So it just took us all with it.
Black stations introduced the music, but music is universal, okay? It's a feeling, you know, it's an inspiration. It has a story, and the stories motivate people and inspire people. So it's not just black people.
You had, of course, your R&B, you had your hip hop, You had your go-go. You could hear jazz on urban radio station. It may be a blues record that sifts in and becomes the rainbow of black music at the time.
Without getting too racial about it, that it
has been the one common denominator, if there's been of any, that has unified us. It's been music and sports.
In Kansas City, there's the Kansas City Chiefs, the Royals, and there's Carter Broadcast, Hot 103 Jams.
And I think there's a reason for that. It doesn't see color. It doesn't see color, even though you have all these various genres of music.
more and more whites listen to black music. It helps when you have playing the music that everybody wants to hear.
White folks have always loved black music. Yeah, that hasn't changed. No, it was the same. So, I mean, good music is good music. It doesn't matter what color your skin is.
I would say that black people are the author of cool.
Times change, music change, and the culture changes. So Carter Broadcast Group, they grew with the listeners.
So it's like, we've been here, we've been there, we done that, and we'll keep doing it, no matter how much the music changed and the audience adjusts from time to time. It was constant voice.
In the 1990s to early 2000s, hip-hop exploded on the mainstream, evolving from its roots in the urban community into a global cultural force. With the rise of influential artists, dynamic beats, and powerful storytelling, the genre broke barriers and dominated the airwaves. Radio stations played a pivotal role. What began as a voice of the streets became a worldwide phenomenon, shaping trends, inspiring movements, and redefining popular music for a new generation.
I didn't have a lot of media sources growing up. We didn't have a lot of money to buy music.
I just remember that this was a station that felt like it was for us. You know what I'm saying? And this is probably early, man. I'm talking 4 or 5 years old.
KPRS was the reason I was hearing gospel music on Sunday in my grandma's Christian house.
At a young age, I knew it was a black station because of the music.
If you go over to people's grandmother's house and you see that old stereo with the TV on it, that's the console on the floor with the light up dial of all the 103 is burnt out because that light has been there for 50 years just burning on 103. It had never changed because that was the only station that blacks listened to. It was either that or the AM dial KPRT. So it was always on. My dad was a barber, had a barber shop. It was always on in the barber shop, so the music was always there. And it was always KPRS.
KPRS was the center of source of music for me, even in the 90s and 2000s.
And on the radio, I heard Planet Rock. And I ran back down to our house. I was like, turn on the radio, Ike, they got that song playing. And he turned it on and I got the end of it. KPRS was playing Planet Rock, man. Oh my God, you know what I'm sizzling? And that.
My mother taught me harmonies and, taught me music in the church, but I learned what the hits were from listening to that radio station. Right. When the Gap Band was out and when Zapp, Roger Troutman and Zapp were out, and it made me Kool and the Gang and groups like that. It made me go to the Roger and Zapp concert, and then when I saw Roger and Zapp on stage, I'm like, oh, that's what I want to do right there.
If you're heard on KPRS, it adds some legitimacy to what you're doing, what you're saying, what message you're trying to provide.
Oh no, in Kansas City, getting my song on Hot 103 Jams.
If your neck looks like this, you need to watch this video. When you sit at your desk or use your phone,
Fast forward to Tech 9 time. We got Cloudy Eyed Stroll on the radio. That was my first song on the radio. After all those years trying, you know what I'm saying? And then it was just back-to-back bumbles after that. After Mitch Bade, I think it was Let's Get Crunked Up, you know what I'm saying? That's how they played it. And then right after that was dun 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 Tech 9, Planet Rock, man. Take it all the way back to when I was 10, Planet Rock, you know what I mean? So we've been tuned in, man. You know, they showed a lot of love over the years, you know, to Tech 9.
When people look at our family and they look at our legacy, they know that it's genuine. They know that when we say we care about the community, we really do. It's not like we're just saying that to hear ourselves talk. And people can see that through the gestures and the things that we do in the community.
And I think a lot of the people who have grown up with KPRS, my grandparents, your grandparents, you know, they saw KPRS as that vehicle, you know, and I want now my kids to understand that.
We can keep this torch burning and we can keep this torch alive. And all we have to do is keep passing it and keep running.
When I'm dead and gone, I hope my kids will continue on, make this 100 years, you know.
We just always have been involved in the community since we've been live. Get out, help. We help out all. Can we run something? Can we bring somebody on the air to talk about this event? We just get involved. If you ask some of the old-time jocks from the 60s what KPRS was about, because, you know, what's your purpose? What's the radio station's purpose? Why did Skip Carter start the radio station in 1950? You know, it can't just be about money. I don't believe that. It has to be about, well, the giving back to the black community, especially in that time period, right? We're doing that still, serving the community. It's different than it was in 1950.
Being part of something that meant so much to the black community, I was honored, and it excited me. And to this day, I'm still excited about what I'm doing 36 years later.
It's just fun. I come to work every day. I mean, I'm 66 years old. I have no interest in retiring because I'm still having fun.
We're so deep into Kansas City. We're ingrained in this city. And I don't think, I especially would never want to lose that. I mean, I would never want to lose that. I feel like that would be a disservice and just disrespect almost to what everything my great-grandparents did and my dad did.
I feel the Carter Broadcast Group family, Mike Carter and everyone, they just support the community. If something's going on, we're going to talk about it. And they allow us to talk about it. They allow us to be real about it and just be able to express ourselves and help the community in so many ways.
Yeah, during times of social injustice, and I've been a part of this, we just want to amplify the voices, the African-American voices of Kansas City, because sometimes it feels like our lanes were so limited. So KPRS has always been that outlet.
There was a time in the mid to late 90s where the owner, Mike Carter, was like, I need you guys to pick a charitable organization and let that be your focus, or pick some kind of cause so we can show that we're not just doing the music thing. We want you to be in the community, be active, and do something that's positive and engaging.
You know, when I started Julie Jones Prom Closet, there were times where we do a Girl Power Day, and we talk about being aware of date rape, and we talk about relationships and self-esteem. I got a platform, so if I can reach somebody who's in a place where they think they can never rise from, I want to be the one to tell them, no, that's not true.
We started a campaign, Put Down the Damn Guns. And Mike Carter himself came on the air, you know, and started, put down the damn guns.
Organizations like Ad Hoc Group Against Crime, that evolved out of a partnership in 1977 with KPRS.
That's how we know about Ad Hoc, KPRS. That's how we know about Alvin Brooks. That's how we know whatever Emmanuel Cleaver was doing at the time, you know what I mean? It's like everything we hear from our station.
I became more involved with Carter Broadcast Group in 1977. There were 10 women of the evening were murdered. As a result of that, the Ad Hoc Group Against Crime was formed the 3rd of November 1977. And we announced that we were going to share with the community the true story as to who the persons were
Alvin Brooks will be calling from 9 p.m. to 1 a.m. with a lot of updates and trying to help not only find children, but also, hey, if there's a shooting, you know what happened, give us a phone call. We will not, all you have to do is just tell us. And we used to get phone calls at the station. They will call us at the station, say, hey, this and this is happening. Like, can I get that phone number? Like, so we would give the phone number to people. We actually put people in touch with our group against crime.
So you asked me what KPRS has done, if no more than that.
You ever wonder how celebrities always have impossibly white teeth? It's not because they spend hours brushing. In fact, most of them don't even use a regular toothbrush anymore. They're all using this automatic 360-degree toothbrush that deep cleans and whitens teeth in just 30 seconds. From Hollywood A-listers to high-powered CEOs, everyone with a tight schedule and $1 million smile is switching to it. Because let's face it, who has time to brush the old-fashioned way when there's a better alternative? This automatic toothbrush uses ultrasonic vibrations and blue light whitening technology to blast away.
How important was that? And no other station would allow me to do that. Other stations didn't do it. Other stations didn't have the relationship with the police department. And I even broadcast from police headquarters, the second floor, which was the violent crimes. I broadcast from there when they brought suspects in.
I really believe when they say that we want to be a community station, and not just say that, but to actually give time to ad hoc to call in whenever they need to do a headline or do something to say, hey, we need to get this out to the community. They can just call up and we just run it back for them.
If we were like any other corporate station in America, we wouldn't be doing the things that we're doing for our city and be looked at how we're looked at. And I think I can speak for everybody when I say that we go to extra effort always to try and make something funny, make an interview happen, or what have you.
So what has KPRS, Carter Broadcasting Group, done for this community? It's been a lifesaver in many cases. Not only in terms of the broadcasting, they went religious, hip-hop, and blues on the other side, but a pillar, if you will, a stalemate, if you will, a beginning, if you will, of what communities ought to be about, and have with them a media source. Because no other station was doing this. No other station followed. No other station really covered the African American community like Carter Broadcasting Group.
And that's something, again, like, I don't know how many radio stations would do that. Like, most radio stations, like, hey, that's giving away a commercial time, or hey, that could be a song that we could be playing right now. But to give Alvin Brooks time whenever he needs it, no matter what time of the day it is, to make that phone call and to be able to get that information out speaks to what the Carter Broadcast Group is about.
We have responsibility not only to ourselves, but we have responsibility to those that we serve, and that's the overall community. And we take that very seriously.
Like when I find out something, oh, you're gonna know about it too. Whether it's because we talk about it on air or whether it's because we're posting on it on social media.
Whatever they were doing, we were involved, whether it was dropping off toys.
Voter registration, back to school events. What we just did recently with Giving Hope and Help, trying to give back to domestic violence shelters with their feminine hygiene products drive. So we're always conscious of that. That's one of the first things I learned when I moved up here, when they say we are about being a community station.
You know, KPRS is gonna always have the info for us, you know what I mean, to rally behind our people.
I love the fact that they love to give back here to the community, and they pride themselves on that.
And I think that reason alone is why the tenure of our team is what it is.
I know that everybody at the station feels the exact same way, which is why there's been people that have been there for their whole careers and their whole lives. And I think that can just speak to the family culture that's within the station.
You know, there are people there that have been there 36 years, 37 years, and we all take that very seriously as far as who we are and why we have to continue to serve our community. That's all we listen to. That's all my mom played when I was a kid. And now I listen to it, and now they want their kids to listen to it.
And so we got to still build that audience, especially nowadays when you have more competition with your phone.
So we had 3-4 generations of folks that grew up listening to our radio stations. But I can't begin to think about retirement until I have CBG, Carter Broadcast Group, where it needs to be to compete for the next 75 years. Mom and pop businesses like ours, 20 years ago, there were a lot of us. Now, I bet I can count them on 2 hands. You know, it couldn't be no more than 10, 12 mom and pop black radio stations that are still fighting the fight. Not only do we have to be good at what we do, I won't even say good, we got to be great at what we do to stay in business against an Odyssey with 9 stations, a Cumulus with 8 stations. Okay? Just do the math.
In the situation of 1996 Telecommunications Act, a lot of our black owners sold their properties. How did that change the landscape of the power and the voices that were in the black community, which was the black radio station?
Black-owned businesses, including radio stations, have long faced challenges in maintaining ownership amidst systematic barriers and corporate consolidation. Despite their cultural impact, many have struggled to compete in an industry dominated by larger entities. Today, radio is more than just a medium for listeners. It's a business shaped by data and dominated by industry giants. Nielsen's ratings and corporate influence continue to control the narrative, determining which voices are amplified and which remain unheard. Yet, the resilience of black-owned media reminds us of the ongoing fight for representation and autonomy in a changing world.
People are dumping their $500 pressure washers for this $50 tool. The results speak for themselves. There's a new breakthrough in cleaning technology, and it delivers the power of professional-grade equipment at a fraction of the price. Bulky, overpriced machines are a nightmare to...
So what is Nielsen? Nielsen is a global leader in audience measurement and data analytics. Doing TV, doing radio, there is almost an industry dependency on Nielsen. Advertisers know that this information that's provided from them is probably at least the most accurate it's going to get. Due to its market share, due to its vast acquisition of other companies and other data analytical places, it has become very dominant. There's not a lot of data or analytics that are being shared with broadcasters, media companies, radio stations, things of that nature. And you kind of have to deal with it, and you kind of got to, take what Nielsen gives you, right? And that places, what you can sell time for. And then that obviously affects your bottom line. That affects the profits that you bring in, So there's a lot of convoluted information in there, and that's one of the reasons that we're talking about the PPM and the rating system.
Obviously, the rating system goes back to the 1950s, but I think what most folks are interested in is the transition from the diary, whereby an individual kept a diary and recorded what they listened to every 15 minutes, ideally. In reality, they may have recorded what they listened to in one setting for the whole week.
So what Nielsen, as it evolved, they tried to find a better way to be able to collect the information from its diary keepers, right? The meter piece was one of those simpler ways to do that.
And then eventually, I believe 2009 was when they switched to the personal people meter.
PPM meter was to revolutionize the way that Nielsen would gather its information from its listeners. It's just that one piece. I mean, there is no other rating company.
PPM system is terrible. I think that the way that the meters work are inaccurate. The way they do it is inaccurate. I mean, and think about today. What does PPM, they got the little meters, right? What does it not pick up? Earbuds.
And a lot of radio stations were concerned about that because they were concerned about how many meters would be out in their respective communities and counties.
It's supposed to represent the demographic of what Kansas City actually is. So let's say that there's a certain amount of black women that are supposed to be in this 18 to 34 range. Sometimes that quota gets met, sometimes it doesn't. Regardless, that's still the statistic of Kansas City, but sometimes it's not fairly represented in the PPM world. I have my suspicions that those PPM meters are not being distributed fairly throughout the African American community for sure.
It's crazy to think that we're still fighting this racial divide, if you will.
When you're trying to convince people to put ads on your station and you're not meeting the numbers that they're requiring because you don't have enough of these meters where our listeners are, it affects us immediately. If it affects the bottom line monthly.
But it's amazing how many people at this office have stayed and have been fighting this fight.
We know that they're listening. We feel that they're listening, but it's not being represented fairly.
Why wouldn't I carry a meter? I don't want somebody knowing where I go, what I do. And why do you expect to think that the African American community is going to carry meters?
That's what we have. That's what's out there. And we have to learn to live with it.
So we have to stay consistent from a programming standpoint and play the hits. Bottom line, play the hits.
Because my grandmother used to say, shut up and play your music.
You can look up to them as role models and saying that if they can do it, you can do it too. And so many others who are watching across the nation, because it was the oldest black-owned radio station in the country, and knowing that there's so many other people that were looking up to them as well.
So for me, the focus moving forward in the future is what steps have to be taken in order to set up the next generation of my siblings and my offspring, and what has to be done in order for them to have a clearer path for where they're going in the future.
Don't worry about trying to fill those shoes. Be honored to walk in those footsteps. Don't see that as a weight. See it as someone who is protecting. They are guiding those footsteps. And to be able to draw the inspiration and the knowledge that he's gained from seeing how business is done and conducted, and use that as you move forward.
You know, the station is changing. You know, there's good. We're getting new talent in,
and they bring a new energy, one that's needed. They bring a new creativity, and they bring a fresh set of eyes that's going to lead this station to 75 more years.
You know, it's for them. I know Robinson just loves working at the radio station. He wants to keep it going, just like Mike wanted to keep it going for his grandfather. Mike loves it.
The Bible says, train them up in the way that they should go, and they won't depart from it. So when you bring them up running this station, then you know you can guarantee that it's going to live on past you. That, to me, is the important thing.
The same way my dad goes out and people know, oh, that's Mike Carter from Hot 103 Jams, I always knew it had to be the same way with me. People had to be like, oh, that's Little Mike. That's Little Mike's son.
Like we've all known, the media landscape, the way people consume media is way different than it was 10, 20 years ago.
If you've got pink salt, apple cider vinegar, and baking soda in your kitchen and you're not using this recipe yet, you're throwing away your chance to lose weight effortlessly. Today I'm here to teach you how to make the new Japanese pink salt recipe for fast weight loss. I started using this 4-ingredient homemade recipe last month, and I lost a lot, like a lot. It mimics the effects of those famous Lilly weight loss pills, except this one's 100% natural. But I had to stop because I was literally disappearing inside my clothes. My doctor even told me to eat more burgers and skip the gym just so I wouldn't have to donate my entire wardrobe. As a single mom of 2,
The key is, what can you do to outlast the brand new shiny thing? Both can coexist, but that doesn't mean you just diminish.
In the age of the internet now, it's so weird because you have so many options, and a lot of people that you're trying to get to engage in a lot of activities don't really listen to the radio anymore, because radio has become a place where you hear the same song, every hour. So if you can be entertaining and engaging and keep them there while the music's jumping around from different genre to different genre, then that'll show your strength as a DJ.
Because now we're not only competing against other stations, but we're competing against the internet. We're trying to get people's time.
It makes it kind of rough when you might get the tune-out factor because they say, well, I'm kind of tired of listening. I'm going to go to my phone.
There was a period of time where the radio station wasn't playing the newest current music that they could have. With Myron not being stuck in a certain way and not being stubborn and wanting to win, he's been taking more risks with playing newer music quicker.
And if it's reacting in the market and I wasn't on it, I better get on it.
As soon as it drops on the internet, drop it on air immediately.
I look at streaming data, I look at Shazam, I look at the trending music on YouTube, what's happening nationwide, and then I look at the top 50 TikTok, because that's a whole different audience. You know, artists are not spending those big budgets on videos like they used to do in the day.
You have to prove to these people that the radio is still here, right?
There's certain people, they're going to just follow the charts. I always say the charts, that's your barometer, but that's not your absolute.
To be independent in that business is a testament to what they do, because it's hard with new technology and everything, you know what I'm saying?
I've tried to stick out in different ways, try to bring something new to the table, bring a new sound, or bring a new energy. And I'm thankful to that radio station for allowing me to use my creativity in a way that will last and inspire.
Brian B. Shinan and Iana Hustle are just masters at dealing with the high schools and young kids. When you are a local and particularly independently Black-owned station, you have the freedom to show up how you want to show up.
Still finding ways to connect differently, because I mean, media and people were forever changing.
I think Hot 103 Jams and KPRS could be a hub for creators.
I have a lot of hope for the future with our station and with just our business.
I don't know where we're going from here. I don't know what's next. Hip hop is still very much a part of a culture that's part of our culture, American culture today.
But we try to make things relevant to what's going on. Every single thing that we do, we try to find a way to connect with our listeners and our community.
I would see the Carter Broadcasting family as legendary. If someone was interested in finding a template, a formula for success, go back and look at what the Carter family has done.
And we should appreciate that now, not after the legacy status. 75 years, you got regular businesses that don't last 10 or 15 years. So a Black-owned radio station that has had to go through changes.
Even as small as they are, as a group, they're touching all the bases, they're embracing the young. I think when you follow the young, you're gonna do okay. If you keep your finger on the pulse of what's happening and you embrace the new technology, it's so important to be aware of that and do what you can to be a part of it. For them to have survived all this time, it has to be a testimony to them paying attention, them having a commitment to the community, not just a commitment to survive, but a commitment to serve the community. And it always goes. If you give the people what the people want, they're going to be loyal to you.
I want the people of Kansas City to know about the Carter family and Carter Media that nothing has changed. Nothing has changed from day one up until where we are right now today, and nothing is going to change in the future. We will always be Kansas City's #1 community station, and we will always represent the Kansas City community first and foremost.
I think that KPRS will forever go down in history. All the talents will go down in history. The staff, of course, the Carter family. It was no easy thing for them to take that leap of faith and for them to do that.
So that's kind of where my grandparents and how I kind of evolved from 8 years old to where I am today. Ever since, even before, when my grandfather died and after my grandmother died, the passion that I had and the drive that I had and have still is that these people built a radio station in 1950.
75 years?
This brilliant device keeps your home cool in summer, even during heat waves and power outages. It's smaller than a lunchbox, cools any room within 3 minutes, and uses 98.7% less energy than your AC. It was invented by a former NASA engineer from Houston, and it's now taking the U.S. by storm. Steve designed this device after a citywide power outage left him, his wife, and elderly mother without AC in the searing summer heat. With inside temperatures reaching 90 degrees, Steve took matters into his own hands. The result is an ingenious invention that's destroying the $5 billion AC industry, helping families around the country. Having worked on cooling systems for deep space rockets at NASA, he reverse engineered the existing aircon unit in his house and was able to build a more efficient cooling device. It sucks in the surrounding hot air, passes it through a liquid compressed cooling cartridge, and then blasts cold air back into the room. Immediately after he turned it on, temperatures in the sweltering hot living room plummeted from 93 to 63 degrees in just 3 minutes. Amazed at the results, Steve put his prototype through controlled testing. His invention cooled down a 400 square feet room by 30 degrees in minutes, keeping it cool using only 2.3% of the electricity of regular AC units. Weighing just 2 pounds, the small and lightweight design allowed the device to run for over 12 hours, recycling the air already generated to create a non-stop loop of cold air that's 99% efficient. It didn't take long before greedy AC companies lined up to license Steve's invention. Worried they would inflate prices and take advantage of homeowners, Steve decided to partner up with independent engineers and trustworthy ex-co-workers instead. Together, they perfected his prototype and readied it for mass production. It's called polar cooling, and it cools down rooms rapidly.
One family, one group. I mean, that's like ABC, NBC, CBS. That's incredible, just the longevity and the loyalty and the dedication, not only of the community, but of the family to the ideal. They could have sold out numerous times. I am sure they've been offered more money than one could imagine for their resources. But no, they chose to forego the big bucks and stay with the ideal, serve community. We're doing fine as we are.
I think the Carter family legacy would be that of a successful African-American family that has survived through so many struggles and is still thriving in whatever year we're going to be in, whether that's 2025 or it's 2075.
To do anything for 75 years, one, you got to be doing it right. Two, people have to like you, and everybody has to agree that you're good.
Those who have been listening for years, they feel a part of us. They feel like they are family. They feel like they were a part of the historical moments that we've had and a historical station.
To be able to be part of something that's so historical as Carter Broadcast Group, and that you have an intricate part of the success of that radio station, it means a lot.
It's a big thing for Black culture to have some ownership. I think that it's easy for everybody to sell off to iHeart and whatever else, but I think it's inspiring to other entrepreneurs that you can't own this big company like Carter Broadcast Group, man. So it's a huge inspiration to me, and I'm sure other Black folks in the city feel the same way.
It's more than just a radio station. It is a community resource that can be tapped into, that influences, that impacts, that educates, I think to some degree, inspire.
And I think their legacy is that we've been there for the community, even through the bad times. Even when we struggle, we're still there.
I think their legacy is built around community, the spirit of community.
The radio station, again, was the nucleus to everything that was Black in Kansas City. But it's very important to understand where we came from, what we're doing, how we got where we are, and why KPRS is so important to the Black community.
That's that extra boost that pushes them forward. They're not just doing it for wow, I'm tearing up just thinking about it. They have a purpose bigger than themselves. And that's what they're working for.
The impact that it has had and will continue to have in advancing and empowering and educating and protecting those who may not be able to do that for themselves.
To still be standing strong, not only in our community, but to be an example that we are here, we're going to stay here and be able to just help those, not only in Kansas City, but to be an inspiration to those around the world. That, a lot of radio companies have gone, but we are still here.
I would like to see us display more of our history, to let people know that we've been here We're going to stay here, and this is what you have built. Because this isn't just us. It's Kansas City. This is Kansas City Station. Always have been and always will be.
75 years is something to try to reach. Congratulations, KPRS. 75 strong years, baby. Wow. How many more?
I'm ready to fool. Remember your favorite hotel, I remember your favorite position. Let's go get a room. You in a relationship now? Come on, my baby, I know you. That ain't even you. You know I'm in tune. Let's go and get freaky. What you got to lose, my baby?
Is you up right now? What you on right now? Is you drunk right now? I don't care right now. Pull your hair right now. Tryna beat it right now. You gon' give it up. You gon' give it up. Don't you understand? You gon' give it up. But you know I gotta make. You gon' give it up. Don't you understand? Got a girl at home, but you calling me. You know I'm taking, baby, I don't creep. Won't even pick up, 'cause you should know better than to think that we could be together. You're right. You know I got a man and he me right. No reason to complain. Hope we tonight. And even if we can't, still won't make you mine. You wasting mine. Is you up right now? What you on right now? Is you drunk right now? But you know I gotta make. I don't care right now. Pull your hair right now. Tryna beat it right now. But you know I gotta make. You gon' give it up. But you know I gotta make. You gon' give it up. Don't you understand? You gon' give it up. But you know I gotta make. You gon' give it up. Don't you understand? Say you want me, that means nothing. I can't say. What can I say? What can I say?
The hottest chick in the game. Julie Jones is giving you 3 hot things
Trending right now.
on Hot 103 Jams.
There's a lot of call for, teens needing to be in certain places at certain times, curfews and things of that nature, but there aren't a lot of programs targeted towards that age group.
One parent speaking, which is something true to KSHB as the summer curfew returns. Let's break it down. No one under the age of 18 after 9 p.m. can be in the 5 entertainment districts. Youth ages 15 and younger have to be accompanied by a parent or guardian. After 10, those 16 and 17, same thing. After 11, and this is citywide, violations could result in detention of the minor and fines up to $500 for the parents. The curfew is aimed at keeping kids safe and reduce violence, which has happened, unfortunately. But Mayor's Night Hoops will return with their first event on June the 7th. But gotta get some love to our very own Deanna Hustle and Brian B. Shining of Hustle and Shine in the Morning, advancing to the final round of Best Radio Personality for the 7th Annual Kansas City People's Choice Awards. Voting ends June 1st, so get that vote in at kcbcawards.com. I vote for each one of them from a different browser every day. But shout out to Terrell Ray, and doing it at the Coffin, you better show up big for the city. We are KC's #1 for hip-hop, R&B, and throwbacks. Hot 103 Jams.
What's up, KC? This is Brian B. Shine.
And this is Deanna Hustle.
Wake up to Hustle and Shine in the morning.
Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. until 10 a.m.
When you hustle, you shine.
On Hot 103 Jams.
Turn it up.
Listen longer this weekend for your chance to qualify to win $1,000 in birthday cash.
We got that cash money.
It's a birthday cash winning weekend.